Hello there, and many thanks for joining us on Joy Asanya Live this afternoon. It's wonderful to have you. Now, this week, ECOWAS launched a regional social protection framework and operational plan for 2024 to 2028, a continental push to expand safety nets, reduce poverty, and make social protection more inclusive across the sub-region. The World Bank and ILO note that while global social protection coverage has expanded in recent years, Africa still lags behind and faces a steep task to close large coverage gaps. Joining us now is Honourable Mohamed Rahman Swaray. Is the Sierra Leone's Minister of Employment, Labour and Social Security. The ECOWAS launched and chaired key inter-ministerial sessions. Minister Swaray brings experience from government, communication and private sector roles as his ministry prepares to translate regional commitment into local action. He previously was the communication person for Sierra Leone. We'll get to having that conversation and how he managed the transition. But beyond that, he studied English and political science, earning a bachelor degree. Swaray also holds a master's of business administration from the University of Westminster Business School in London. He has a wealth of experience in aviation, mining and port transportation. He was an organizational development and human resources consultant. He's a senior member of the International Public Relations Association, a certified crisis communication expert. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you so much.
It's such an honor to have you. I mean, here we go again, ECOWAS launching. I mean, we've had several conversations about these treaties and operational plans and framework for several aspects. But let's just delve into the launch of this, the ECOWAS social protection the framework and operational plan.
I think this was first, I'm here, I was here to do the launching because President Julius Maada happens to be the chairperson of the Authority of Heads of State and Government. You know, so I was very honored. I flew in with two important members of the Sierra Leone social protection community.
Right.
The commissioner who leads implementation and the director general of the coordinating agency. Because one of the things we have found out over the years is that social protection interventions are very fragmented. There are no definite registers, and too many things are blighting that sector. So we believe one way to resolve is to set up a social protection registry and ensure that we don't duplicate, we don't waste resources, and we have a register that speaks to the realities on the ground. So yesterday, yes, ECOWAS launched a framework for social protection and an operational plan. This has been a long time coming, and I want to commend ECOWAS for that action. It's a very major step taken to address challenges in the social protection sphere. You know, already at the launch, it became very clear that the statistics in West Africa on social protection is very depressing, it's very dismal, yawning and wide coverage gaps. So we now need a framework so that we're able to harmonize efforts, we're able to synergize efforts to ensure that we protect some form of coverage for each and every one of our citizens, at least to catch up with the aspirations of Vision 2050.
That's very exciting. I mean, when you read about Sierra Leone, you see that so much is happening already when it comes to welfare and social protection. What would you say it excites you about Sierra Leone aligning with this regional, sub-regional plan?
Well, so our government, His Excellency President Bio's government, is very heavy on human capital development. Before now, when they ask Sierra Leoneans, you know, the assets the country has, they will begin to mention diamonds, gold and
exactly.
this, that. That's the perspective this administration has tried to change. We believe that our people are the most valuable assets we have. That is why we have done a lot of interventions ranging from free quality education from pre-primary school to the completion of university, amongst others. We provide free school meals to sections of the community where they are most in need, and provide many other things, teaching and learning materials and more, free public examination fees for all public examinations, ranging from the primary school public exam, the NPSE, the BECE, and the WASC. We do all of these. Are all social protection interventions to ensure that the weakest members of society are also insulated from falling deeper and deeper into poverty. In Sierra Leone, in 2019, for example, we reviewed our social protection policy. In 2020, we introduced shock responsive mechanisms to be able to, take care of things like climate change, climate-induced, vulnerability, and all of those things. And this year, about a couple of months, a couple of months ago, I piloted the social protection bill. So it's now law. It's legit. It's that's a broad framework to regulate that space. Like I mentioned ab initio, this has been a very unregulated space. A lot of duplication of efforts, dissipation of resources, more often than not. So we now want to have a firm grip on it so that we are able to manage it to address the current and emerging challenges in that sector. So we are firmly on course. I know just before I came, and we have been able to support 10 out of the 15 districts in Sierra Leone with various social protection interventions. We are on our way. We should be able to add the 5 remaining districts. So we are not there yet, but we are making very spirited efforts to get there. Just before I lose my train of thoughts, we have also been working very hard, very diligently to extend social protection to the informal sector. And this is our economies in West Africa are mostly, majority of our people live in the informal sector. So it will be very delusional for anybody to think because you have formal social protection schemes, your population is covered. So we have, Cabinet has recently approved the social protection, the extension of the social protection coverage to the informal sector. The act is now being done, and I am confident that before the end of the year, we should be able to turn that corner. We believe it's important to reduce vulnerability and to increase resilience amongst our people who contribute a lot to society's well-being and whose welfare is mostly not very well looked after.
Absolutely, and that's very laudable initiatives. Nigeria also tried some of the interventions, the social welfare interventions, and depends on who you ask. Some would say it was completely a failure, like the targeted cash transfers, the school feeding intervention as well. What would you say the challenges for you in Sierra Leone is, and what are the successes?
So first off, any day I will support school feeding program. I was scheduled to school through school feeding.
So
when I sit in cabinet,
and you're better off for it today.
Oh yes, when issues like this come up in cabinet, I'm a major enthusiast who push it. And you have a president who is also heavy on human capital development. So we are there. The challenges, remain the same. I'm sure across West Africa. That's one of the things that really they brought out in the framework. Inadequate allocation, budgetary allocation to social protection interventions. Yes, that's quite an issue, but we are confident that with the enactment of the social protection bill, which the development partners help us put together, we should be able to get enough resources, and government has also committed to contribute to a social protection fund, to establish a social protection fund and contribute to it. This is to address issues of sustainability. Should donor funding dry up, should the donors begin to think otherwise, we should be able to carry on without anybody's support. Because we believe it's the right and proper thing to do for our citizens. It's the rare thing to do because they contribute so much to national development they should be protected against vulnerabilities, against shocks, and related other issues.
Okay, so Minister, you represented your president at the ECOWAS launch and chaired parts of the inter-ministerial sessions. So what would you say practically the significance of this ECOWAS social protection framework is for Sierra Leone? And broadly speaking, how does it capture the peculiarities of the challenges several members of the sub-region have?
Well, so this journey started in 2017. ECOWAS realized it was important to have a gold standard for the region. It was important to standardize interventions. Yes, so it's very, very important. There is now a gold standard for the sub-region. Countries should be able to emulate it. They should be able to adapt it to their specific situations. I think that's very good. We spoke about overarching frameworks to support and coordinate efforts. Sierra Leone just did before I came here. We had launched the Social Protection Agency. I was accompanied by the Director General. I was accompanied by the Commissioner of, the Commissioner who implements social protection interventions in Sierra Leone. So that is to tell you we treat it very seriously. But like I mentioned, it's a good thing to do right now at this point. With climate-induced vulnerabilities and, all of those, this could not have come at a better time, So there's also the issue of data, There's a dearth of credible data in the region when it comes to social protection interventions.
Right.
Because you have a multiplicity of agencies in that sphere doing social protection. So it is for us in Sierra Leone, it is for that reason now have the Social Protection Authority. They should be able to coordinate all of those interventions, and we can now speak with one voice. We can have codified data, not disparate data from various interventions by different agencies. So yes, the ECOWAS thing will work. Like I said yesterday in my pre-launch address, I am confident. Well, let me be guided. Let me say I am hopeful that this will not be like other previous documents,
right?
Whose impact have not been felt on the ground, right? Social protection is not something you can talk about
and just let it. Yes,
you see it, you feel it, and like I said yesterday in the address, this is not an investment for today; it's an investment for the future,
right?
Because those you intervene with now, you are graduating them from grinding and horrendous poverty. You are giving them a leg up so that they don't sink more and more into poverty. Yeah.
Nigeria is, or Africa really, is really skilled with young energies and innovative young people. What are you doing, especially in Sierra Leone? And I would also like you to mention parts of the framework that may talk to this aspect, capacity building for young people.
So in our country, His Excellency President Biu had said before, when we campaign together, and even in his presidency, he's always noted that youth unemployment is a major national security threat, right? We have to take a bold step, to address it. You just mentioned some of the ways it could be done through upskilling. Remember we had a debilitating 11-year-old civil war. You have a whole generation of people who missed out on schooling or any form of technical vocational education and training. So we now have these people to contend with. So what we are doing, we are not there yet completely. The problem still persists. We are providing technical vocational training opportunities for them so that they could have pathways for dignified and secured livelihood. So that's one area. In our in the current National Development Plan, we speak about the 5 big game changers. That is what is the defining legacy of His Excellency's government, the 5 big game changers. There, one of the key pillars is feed Salome. We want to be able to feed our people. Government spends a large chunk of, our foreign, her resources, to import, our staple food, rice and other things. So we have invested heavily in agriculture, and the numbers are beginning to speak. It's beginning to be felt on the ground.
Right.
We are reducing food prices. Yes. I mean, you can cross-check this.
Okay.
I say so proudly and boldly and in public too. We have reduced food prices. Even the WFP has acknowledged that Sierra Leone is doing very well, in providing food to feed our people. Because this is one of the cardinal commitments His Excellency made. A country that cannot feed herself is a doomed nation. We want to be able to do that. Even when we cannot continue to go cap in hand begging. So we have started. It's a long journey. We are not there, but there is political will, there is support, and our development partners are coming along. So we'll get there.
You sound very positive about the future, but we've had certain pacts and treaties and plans and frameworks like this. What gives you confidence that it will be gazetted, nations within the sub-region would be just as interested and pushing?
So we have actually talked through this deep and hard. We know governments come and go, and their priorities change. So because of that, the idea is we want a bipartisan approach so that we can enact it. Some of these key and critical developments like free quality education, no government should be able to change it. We want to make it an entrenched provision in our national constitution. Some key aspects of the development we want to enact into law so that nobody wakes up in the morning and think that because this was a program by the other administration, we're going to change it. Because I don't care who comes in today. Youth unemployment remains high in all of sub-Saharan Africa. We are making bold steps to crack it. We are not there yet. So no government should be able to, remove that from the priority basket.
Yeah.
No,
I'm even talking about the sub-region and the alignments. Yesterday, you saw a lot of countries say, yes, we are aligned to this, we want to push it, but often implementation is always the problem.
Well, there are challenges. Like we have mentioned funding, we have mentioned, like in the case of Sierra Leone, our peculiar challenge, we had a whole generation miss out on schooling, miss out on any form of technical vocational education, and we now see countries are getting more insular. Yeah, they are looking more inward now. Right. So that is in itself a challenge which should make us bold enough to begin to challenge ourselves, to look for creative and innovative ways to solve our own problems.
Okay, so I'm excited. I hope I would also have a conversation with your Nigerian counterpart to see what is in place to ensure that we start feeling, like you said, social protection isn't just in words, you get to feel it. But so can you tell us how many people or households in Sierra Leone are currently covered by the formal social protection programs that you have mentioned earlier?
So we're talking about the formal. Did you say the formal?
I said
so
formal.
The formal. We have the National Social Security and Insurance Trust Scheme, which covers about 9% of those informal. 9% of the population. Yes, that is anybody by the Act, by the 2002 Act, which sets up NACIT. Anybody who has an employer-employee relationship. If you have, for example, your employer says I should be able to pay 10% for you. They deduct 5% from your salary. So 15% should go to Social Security. So you are covered. One had COVID, one had Ebola. Whether you went to work or not, you were paid salaries, even if it was half salary. But the vast majority did not have that benefit. That is why we want to extend coverage today. Right? So that's the percentage it covers right now. But I'm sure by the time we extend to the informal sector, the story will be a lot more interesting. So like I mentioned to you, we have something like, what is it now? About 10 of the 15 districts covered. By way of Sierra Leone, it's a population of about 8 million people.
8 million, exactly.
So if I call the figures covered right now,
it's not as small as it looks, right?
Direct cash transfers about 15,000. Yeah, yes. That is we took something like 65, 75 and above. 75 and above. You shift the goalpost when the resource envelope is small. Yeah, we had actually done a mapping and enlistment from 60 years upwards. Because of the resource envelope, we decided to deal with 75 upwards.
We've been saying so much about young people. Let's talk about these 75 upwards. I know there are initiatives and allowances. Is it allowances?
No. Young people have various other forms of interventions.
Right.
Yeah? They have youth in farming, youth in youth in
In
various
tech, I
skills,
think
in tech,
I stumbled
various
on that.
other things. Yeah.
Yes.
So
No, but I want you to tell me what is in there for the elderly, the senior citizens
what
as
is
well.
there for the elderly? But I
The
just
social
mentioned
security.
we're doing direct cash transfers to them.
Is it targeted to just the
Yes,
elderly,
it's
the
the
senior
elderly.
citizens?
It's for the aged,
Right.
vulnerable
Right.
aged. I'm not talking about an aged person who can afford, a flight ticket to Dubai for vacation. You have your kids looking after you.
Right.
We're talking about, if you like, the poorest of the poor, who are the hardest hit, by the harsh economic climate.
When we
Just
talk
so
about
that they are able to have resources to get by.
yes, identification of these individuals was a problem for us here. Nigerians were very distrustful of the process. Is it something you also faced in Sierra Leone?
Well, there are usually trust gaps.
Of course,
there are
of
trust
course,
gaps.
of course.
But I think we have proven the cynics wrong. We have proven our critics wrong, because everybody who qualifies for it, irrespective of where you come from, which political party you belong to, has benefited from it, and they continue to benefit from it. So, I mean, that's the only acid test of trust. Yeah, they didn't believe you will reach them.
And
You'll be
here,
targeted.
yeah.
They are targeted, and they benefit. What more can you say beyond that?
Well, financing is the hard part, like you said earlier,
It is.
for countries that will be part of this, that are part of this framework. So, what financial model would you suggest for participating countries?
So while I was doing the launch after the launch yesterday, I called my team in. We had a brief session. One of the things that crossed my mind was we should be able to open up more and more,
Right.
not closing, because traditionally almost all countries just target the development partners for support. I think we should go beyond that. We should bring in the private sector. Yes, somebody was asking, what incentives are you giving to the private sector to get excited to support social protection interventions? The incentives are very simple. When social protection is good, when it's done and the right beneficiaries are happy, you will be assured of peace, stability, and tranquility, and an enabling business environment. Right? The private sector can only thrive in stability. Right? So when we target those young people who might not have jobs, there will be peace and stability.
Of course,
there
there's
will
a
be
ripple
quiet,
effect.
and they can carry on their private sector activities, make profits, and everybody's happy. So that is one big thing.
Well, I'm excited now that I have you here. Sierra Leone has worked on a peace consolidation since the conflict era. So how does stronger social protection contribute to peace and social cohesion, especially, in communities that are most affected by conflict?
Yeah, so we have always maintained, poverty and vulnerability don't know boundaries. Right? In the same way, solidarity doesn't know it.
Exactly.
So if you are distributing cash, everybody benefits, you are happy.
Right.
It helps maintain the peace in those communities. When we launch the free quality education, right, everybody benefits. When government is fighting malaria, everybody benefits. So the interventions are across borders.
Right.
They are across boundaries, irrespective of who benefits. I mean, we are colorblind when it comes to dishing out benefits or supporting households with palliatives. As long as you qualify, you are eligible, you get it, because you are Sierra Leonean and you deserve it. Yeah,
so for those in diaspora, Sierra Leoneans in diaspora, I stumbled on a video where I think you were addressing Parliament and talking about the those in diaspora who are undocumented, and there's so much to be done. There's so much potentials within the country. What's your message to Sierra Leoneans who are leaving the country when they can be in the country and contribute to the development?
Well, so the message remains the same. Sierra Leone is the only country we have. We have to manage it well. The other countries people run to were developed by their citizens. Well, sometimes with our support, because we run to those places, right? We make substantial and valuable contributions there instead of doing it in borderland.
Absolutely.
So we encourage them, come back and contribute to your quota to national development. to support that process, to push it another notch. We are planning for a major diaspora engagement in December.
Wow.
We want to be able to exchange views with the Sierra Leonean diaspora. We want to encourage them to invest in the country. We want to hear from them what their investment constraints are and how government could work with them to address it. We want to hear from them on how we can support technology and innovation so that our young people could benefit.
Right.
We want to encourage them to invest in agriculture, to support feed salon. We want to support them to do various other things, right? This will not be a strictly political thing. We'll be facilitating a family dialogue across political parties, across tribal, regional, religious, every line. Because we believe that when we adopt that posture, we are able to harness the best from the Sierra Leonean diaspora.
Right.
So we are in higher gear.
I often ask your colleagues in Nigeria, I mean, there's so much potential, like I said earlier, and investment opportunities as well. But sometimes you stumble on our African brothers and they want to invest in what they term more stable economies, when there are opportunities down here as well. I mean, it consequently would bring about employment, which is your forte. So
Right now.
right now. So what do you do to, when speaking with these people, when they see Africa as volatile economically, as crisis prone, and all the many unfortunate words that are used to describe Africa, how do you address these individuals?
So to those individuals, I say it's going to take all of us to address the challenges. And I say to them, sometimes the challenges are over-exaggerated.
Exactly.
In Sierra Leone, for example, we have had about 4 successive changes of government, including from one political party to the other, twice, right? That cannot be...
from a crisis-prone place.
That cannot be seen as an unstable country. Yes, we've had our own challenges here and there, but I think we are soldiering on very well. Again, it's a chicken and egg story. If they all come, they invest in the country,
right,
we'll have jobs created, you know, it will brighten the hopes of young Sierra Leoneans that there are opportunities here, so they will not go towards instability. So when we all invest, when we put our monies, we will qualify to continue to criticize. So I encourage the Sierra Leonean diaspora, or indeed the African diaspora, to come back home, invest in their countries of origin, you know, and help promote the investment potentials in those countries. It's not enough that we sit on social media, we denigrate the country, we condemn it, we castigate it, and we make it look like, you know, the road to hell. You know, there are a whole lot of redeeming qualities this country has. Sierra Leone, for example, has some of the world's most pristine sand beaches. Yeah, we have vast arable land for farming, great flora and fauna, beautiful people, clear, you know, guardrails to protect investment. We have fast-track commercial courts and many more things.
Oh, that's
people
where I was
are free
going.
to repatriate their profits as long as it's illegal and legitimate business.
Exactly,
so
where I was
there is a lot
going.
going for Sierra Leone. So I want to call on the Sierra Leonean diaspora and indeed the Nigerian community listening to me, who are dreaming of investing in a place where their investments will be safe. Look no further. Sierra Leone awaits you.
Yeah, I'm happy you just mentioned something. That was supposed to be my next question. Investment trust, the bureaucracy in administrations and political offices, and the corruption sometimes that we often record.
Yes. So hear this. In Sierra Leone, I'm not saying we are there yet. A lot of conscious efforts are being made. Since we came to government in 2018, we have successfully passed various international benchmarks for corruption. In the MCC, the Millennium Challenge competition, MCC, Millennium Challenge Corporation Indexes, we have in the 7th year running passed the corruption index and many others, which is why we qualified for the US 480 million grant, right? There were challenges, but that has now been cleared. We're getting ready for implementation. So that's one. I mean, various other organizations have also cleared us. Talking about the bureaucratic challenges, We are cognizant of that. It is for that same reason that we set up the National Investment Board, which is now a clearinghouse. It's headed by His Excellency, and yes, the board is headed by His Excellency, and it provides a one-stop shop opportunity, you know, from registration of businesses to doing the paperwork, tax clearance, everything. So that now substantially cuts down on the time you spend to register and start a business in Sierra Leone. You know, so that's important. I mentioned the fast-track commercial courts.
Right.
This is to ensure that where you have disputes, investment disputes, you can go there, and the mandate, as per the name, is to ensure that the trials, the matter does not go on forever. It's expeditious. Because, I mean, the private sector and long drawn out legal matters don't sit well with each other. So, yes, and we have a fairly youthful population, educated, willing, and ready to work. And there are very enabling laws for people to repatriate profits, you know, once their businesses are happening. Again, we give a lot of incentives to attract new businesses to Sierra Leone.
Right.
We provide aftercare services. So there are a lot more things we do, you know, to ensure that we're able to attract investment. And this has been working very well for us.
That's exciting. Now going back to the social, the ECOWAS social protection framework, how can ordinary Sierra Leoneans hold government accountable, community leaders, civil society? How can they engage to ensure that this plan is followed through?
Well, so Sierra Leone is one of Africa's most resilient and liberal democracies. Remember, we repealed the criminal libel law while I was at the Ministry of Information and Communications, 1965. It was about 65 years old. So we have that. Citizens can speak. We have a plurality of media outlets. No journalist has been is in jail on account of, you know, the work they do. So that is one outlet, and we have social media, which is accessible now to everybody, you know. So that's the biggest opportunity they have. But social protection interventions, because it requires community ownership, right? You do a lot of engagements before, during, and after to get feedback, right? So all of that comes back to iterate the program, to correct challenges, and to make it better. We also have anti-corruption elements embedded in it, yeah, so that nobody swindles them, nobody fleeces them, you know, because in the past we had challenges. That was why we brought in that innovation, right? So, I mean, yes, we are getting there.
Now a personal question. I had promised you I was going to ask that question.
Please do.
The transition from Minister of Communication, Information and Communication to Minister of Employment, Labour and Social Security. How is that transition? Do you wish you had your old job back?
So I'll share something with you. During the very heated campaign for the 2023 elections, having served as Minister of Information. Oh, first, I transitioned from the official campaign spokesperson to becoming the Minister of Information and Communications. All right, I served that role for the first 5 years. You know, it was very draining. It was very draining. You know, you wake up in the morning, somebody sets an agenda, you literally find very little time to sleep. So my 12-year-old daughter was praying all the time, said, "Daddy, I hope they remove you from this ministry." So when, in His Excellency's second inning, he appointed me to the Ministry of Employment, Labour and Social Security, she was very excited. You know, she's named after my mom. She said to me, "Daddy, look, you know I'm your mom. I prayed that you don't go back to that ministry. You didn't go there." So that's interesting, you know, because it was time to move on to something else.
Oh, I can imagine.
5 grueling years. You know, dealing with some of the most challenging moments. You know, it's good that, you know, I moved on. But interestingly enough, how do I feel? How's the transition been? This has been one of the most seamless transitions.
Oh,
you
really?
read my profile. I've been into human resources, organizational development, and public relations. So the public relations bit was good in my previous role, the crisis communications part. But the organizational development, the human resources bit, is good with what I now do.
Right.
And interestingly enough, in all of the campaigns we in 2012, when His Excellency first took a shot at the presidency, and did not get the results. Not because he lost, he didn't get the results.
That's story for another day.
Another day. I actually, led the manifesto aspect that dealt with labor, social security, and what have you.
Ooh.
So in 20 again, it was same. So I'm actually back home. I'm back home. I'm enjoying it. It's very challenging, but I'm enjoying it.
Well, while I have you here, I'd just like to ask what you think about this new landscape, social media, information, misinformation, and how did you? Because you're at the time, your Nigerian counterpart, Lai Mohammed, had the worst time. I as a journalist, I would see him on TV and I'll be cringing. He was struggling, and not because he wasn't competent, but because the challenges were huge. We have a vibrant youth population, and vibrant and technologically savvy as well. So how do you manage? How did you manage that? What do you perceive of this social media?
Just transpose the same youth characteristic to Sierra Leone. Yeah, we have a very vibrant social media savvy young people with very grandiose expectations. So the whole government to account by all means necessary.
Wow.
If you are not careful, they set the agenda, right? So you wake up in the morning, so I tell my people, even my current role, that look, unfortunately, the boat that you are used to left a long time ago.
Exactly.
You cannot administer the Ministry of Employment, Labor and Social Security. They did that independence, right? Here you wake up, you see employees from one institution, issuing out strike orders. You have had a field. So the agenda is now set, not only by government, by everybody else. What we did was to address misinformation. We set up various fact checker groups, right?
Okay.
Yes, both local and international, so that you can always cross-check facts. If somebody, for whatever motivation, puts out some misinformation, that can be corrected, very timeously, right? Talking about how do we, the other way to do it, and being at information, we try to engage. Public engagements are key, right? They are key. Proactive public engagements.
Right.
Yeah, you don't wait till they begin to act. So we also have the Freedom of Information Act, which talks about, and we try to encourage proactive disclosures. Proactive disclosures. You see it before they begin to act it, before they begin to add meaning to it, before they begin to see it from other lenses.
Gaps for speculation.
Yeah, once you leave gaps, they will be filled in. Nature, doesn't like a vacuum.
Right.
Yeah. So this is how we've been approaching it. Currently, I see my colleague does a lot of town hall meetings. They are where, regular press conferences, which will move across the country, and we work with civil society groups. So we have tried. We are not there yet, because this generation is very insatiable when it comes to information.
Absolutely.
But we're doing our very best. While I was there, I did, and I see my colleague doing the same thing. So we'll get there.
Thank you so much for your time here on this station. We have been discussing with Honourable Mohamed Rahman Swaray, Minister of Employment, Labour and Social Security. Again, I thank you for being part of the program, and I wish you a wonderful stay while you're in Abuja.
Thank you so very much. Abuja has been great.
Right.
I look forward to a safe flight back home tomorrow. It's been really great being here.
I can imagine. We come from a very great nation.
Thank
Welcome once again.
Thank you.
But this is it for this interview.